Hello, I'm John. I do the smokeless powder guns on this channel, and my buddy Dimwit, he does the black powder guns. And I have put together a Swedish Mauser M96 sniper rifle, and I tried to keep it lightweight and compact, and it's a civilian receiver with the whole left side intact without that thumb recess for the loading clips. So this is a very strong and sturdy action and should be very accurate. So what do we have here? I started out with it was just a barrel action, really, a model 640 Husqvarna rifle from a couple of years after World War II, and it had a rusty 8mm barrel in it, and so I got the hold of a brand new replacement barrel for a model 38 Mauser. It wasn't brand new, it was old, but it was never been used. And I cut that down to 50 centimeters, and that's almost 19 3/4 of an inch. And I got the hold of this stock that I really haven't seen before. So now the whole gun is 102 centimeters long, and that's a little more than 40 inches. And the way you see it here, it weighs 5.6 kilos. I forgot to figure out how many pounds that is, but should be about 11 pounds. I'll put it down in the description. And and I got the hold of a Norwegian made Kongsberg weapons factory match trigger assembly, and I've never seen one of those before for the model 96. I see them all the time for the Krag rifles and also the Mauser model 98. So I was pretty happy to get that. It's an excellent trigger. And let's see, I put a vector optics scope on it. I'll show you the box for some of these things. And there's a Farrel picatinny rail with 20 MOA elevation. It's a steel picatinny rail, and I have some Warne Maxima scope rings, and there's a little piece of picatinny rail on top of here, and well, there was an opening in the upper wood here for the original rear sight, and I was thinking, well, maybe I should fit a new piece of wood in there, but then I ended up putting a piece of picatinny rail on there, and if I want to, I can take the scope off and I can put this other sight on here that I forgot to bring with me. And there's another piece of picatinny rail underneath here, and that I put a bipod on, and it's an Atlas bipod. It's not these cheap knockoffs from eBay. This is the real thing. And the way to tell them apart when they're offered for sale on that, the originals have these that flares out on this spring-loaded piece, but the Chinese knockoffs, they don't have this edge that's sticking out. And there's a world of difference. So, and there's just a hunting sling really, but I put this bean bag on there, and that's from an outfit called Tiger Valley. And when you're shooting with a bipod in kind of a machine gun position, you can grab onto this with your left hand and support the butt of the gun down to the ground. It works out pretty well. I put this cheek rest on there for now. I would prefer to build a cheek rest out of wood, kind of like they did on the Lee Enfield snipers back in the day. Yeah, let me show you some other things. The scope came with these protective caps that usually comes with it. And these are the rings that I put on there, and I kind of like them. They're made for the picatinny rail, and they kind of remind me of the old Redfield sniper rings. And this is the Farrel picatinny rail box, an excellent product. And if I want to, I can take the bipod off and put this thing on there. It's a searchlight, but it's also a laser aim, sort of. So that could be useful. And that match trigger assembly looks something like this. This is also a Kongsberg weapons factory match trigger assembly, but this is for a Mauser M98, and it's got pretty much the same layout for the M96, but there's some they don't fit, so it's a different design a little bit. And I don't know if you've seen these before, but they're really good. Now if I pull the trigger, nothing really happens on the sear engagement here, but if I push down on it and pull the trigger, what happens is it folds forward and down. So it's a completely different thing going on than with the original military style trigger, and it will give you a clean, crisp trigger pull, and you can adjust it to pretty much anything you want. Excellent. And here's the box for the scope I put on it. It's a Vector Optics, and they seem to have made a name for themselves when it comes to budget priced Chinese optics, and I think it's excellent value for the money. And it's a Veyron 3-12 by 44 first focal point or front focal point, whatever, and it's mil spec scope. I like the mil specs. And it's got a mil dot-ish reticle, and it's got these lockable target turrets, and you got your parallax adjustment and your 3-12 power there. So it's a fairly compact scope. Well, some of these scopes are getting awful big nowadays, but this works out. The Farrel picatinny rail and those rings and this scope works out pretty nice. If I was to do any more work on this gun, I would lengthen the bolt handle and knob, but it works. And I have also been thinking about stripping the varnish off of this stock and give it a linseed oil finish instead, and build a wooden cheek rest on it. And I have been experimenting with the striker. The Husqvarna 640 has kind of a civilized striker. They cut this rear part off that you can use to cock it. They remove that and they shorten the length of the stroke. But the camming action of those pieces were worn, and I had to replace them, and I got the hold of some parts for a competition rifle that also had been shortened down, and they were also worn down in that camming action, and it was awful. It had a short, strong and fast stroke, but it didn't really help the action any, I think. And so I actually put together again with an original military striker, for lack of a better word. I'm a Norwegian, so English is not my first language. And I put the original military spring in there, and so now it's got maybe a long, slow, and heavy striker, but it works, and it's what feels most comfortable to use for me, because I even bought some stronger springs, striker springs from Brownell's, a couple of different versions, and I tried those, but I just find them too hard. You feel it when you close the action, because the M96 cocks when closing, and it becomes really hard to close. And with these striker mechanisms that have been shortened, you get all that resistance on a very short travel, and it just feels better to have a little bit lighter resistance on a longer travel. So some of you might not agree. It's just a snap cap, but whatever. And so that's what it looks like. And so now I probably spend more time in my basement workshop than I do at the shooting range, and most times when I go shooting, I do that at my cabin in the forest, and I'll shoot 22s and pistols, revolvers, and black powder guns. I don't really have a place where I can shoot high power rifles on longer distances without having to go to a public shooting range, and then they're busy doing what they're doing, and everybody's got the same stuff, and I show up with something different, and it's just a pain in the ass. So if you like this gun, you might enjoy some of the other guns I put together. I put together quite a few sniper rifles on Krag actions, some of them modern and some of them more old school, World War II and upholsterer tour. And I also have a model 98, kind of a modern sniper that I put together, and I'm going to make a video with that within a few days. So maybe you should have a closer look at my video list, and maybe subscribe. If you got any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer. And I hope you click on like. And if you got something to say, I hope it's nice. And well, can't think of anything more to say. I'm sure, like always, I'll think of something else once I shut the camera down, but that's the way it goes. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.